Hi, my name is Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. I'm here with Michael Barry of Discovery Investing. Thanks for being with us, Michael.
Good to be here, Scott.
I wanted to get your take right now on what's going on in the market. We're here in Calgary at the Cambridge Resource Investment Conference. What's your expectation of the things coming in the near future?
I think there's some real strong headwinds for the market. The banks that haven't really crossed the threshold yet to safety in the U.S., the banks in the U.S., and we're seeing a lot of money that should be in the economy, not in the economy. It's in the banks instead. Mm-hmm. And so I'm concerned. I think we've had a good run from about, March of 2009 until now. But we're seeing things come up daily, like Moody's today in the New York Times, Moody's might downgrade some of the banks. That would have a profound effect on the capital markets and on the banking system. So I'm cautious in terms of the market right now.
Okay, and what about in terms of the metals in particular, gold, silver, or base metals?
Yeah, I'm a gold bull. I'm a silver bull. Interestingly enough, I was reading yesterday that there's a big zinc mine in Bathurst, New Brunswick, that will have been mined out by this time next year. So I think zinc is one of those metals that sort of doesn't get much press. I think companies like Zazu up in Alaska, I don't own that one, but I think zinc has real potential. So the Chinese have been selling paper to buy all kinds of other things like copper and zinc and oil and gold.
So what's your take on the metals then going forward, say for the next 12 months? Do you think we're moving up from here in a continued trend with gold, or is there a bit of a pullback? What's your take?
Yeah, I think it would be healthy to have a pullback in the metals. My sense is that China has already revised their growth rate down once to 7.5%, and we've become accustomed to 9, 10, and 11%. So China's a pretty big player in the market, but China also has a big bank account and will stockpile a lot of this stuff. There is still underway a convergence going on in the world between the haves and the have-nots. That is a convergence of lifestyle, and lifestyle convergences usually require metals and energy and all the kinds of things that we're at this show talking about.
Well, what do you think about, you mentioned convergence, what about the divergence between the gold price and the gold stock, specifically the juniors? What's your sort of take on that? Do you think that you're sort of allude to a correction in the metals potentially?
Yeah, certainly the juniors, but even if you look at Goldcorp or Newmont or any of the stocks right now that even have some pretty decent dividends, there is this huge gap between the metal and the actual price of the equity. I think it's across the board pretty much in the gold sector. And it seems to me ETFs might have something to do with that. The central banks have been buying physical gold for for a couple of years now. And in fact, in 2011, the central banks, with the exception of Canada and the US, bought about 500 tons of gold. They have traditionally been sellers, so I think has been some significant upward pressure from the central banks and also from individuals in countries like China that are now able to actually buy gold. If you go into China or India, you can buy 1 gram cards of, of gold. And India produces 1% of the world's gold and consumes 32% of the world's gold. Gold is like a currency in India. And so there are a lot of different cultures out there. And so I think gold has, I'd be buying gold if it pulled off at this stage of the game.
And what about from the stock perspective? Is there some companies out there that you like right now? And just disclose which ones you own.
Yeah, I think I've got some real favorites. Revette Minerals is one. Great management team led by John Shanahan. And they mine silver and copper. They cash flow. They earned $70 million last year. And I think one of the key things for junior mining companies and junior exploration companies is sustainability. Because if we do have a pullback in the capital markets, in particularly the equity markets, it's going to be very, very important for these little companies to sustain themselves. So I like Revette Minerals. They're mining the Troy mine. And they've also got another big ore body called Rock Creek that they may well be able to mine in the future. That's a $4 stock, $4.10. Owned it for quite a long time, like the management. And then Northern Graphite, there's a big graphite mania going on now. People are talking about graphene and all sorts of things. probably those things won't happen for the next decade or so in terms of products. But Northern Graphite IPO'd in about a year ago now. I wrote them up first. I was involved in the IPO. I own the stock. I think it's a great management team. So I think that's a real positive. Terraco Gold has a good management team. It's a 22-cent stock today. They managed to purchase the royalties on Spring Valley, which is a Barrick Midway Gold project. So they added about $80 million of present value to their balance sheet, which is very positive. And they have 1 million ounces of resource up in Idaho. I own that stock also. So those are a few. There's some other ones, but I think there are some good stocks out there, and what people need to do is think about, can they sustain themselves until they're either taken out or until they get into production.
Yeah, I'm not a shareholder of any of those 3 companies, just for disclosure, but that's exactly it right now. There's a lot of companies that are hurting for cash. They weren't able to finance last fall, and they're having difficulties doing it again now. Correct. They're getting into very dire situations. So companies with great management and with a cash position and some sort of asset moving forward looks like a good place to be.
It is indeed, for sure.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you, Scott. Good to see you again.
Again, that's Michael Berry with Discovery Investing. My name is Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. Thanks for being with us.